Hello again. I spoke to you a few weeks ago about this activity that we would complete on March 9th, and today is that day. Our administrators worked on this activity weeks ago, and now it is your turn. What we're trying to accomplish is to set a vision for Rockham County Public Schools. As part of that vision, we will certainly use some of the items that the Virginia Department of Education has already produced in its profile of a graduate. We know that we have a focus on the 5 C's. There's this profile of a graduate that also includes hands-on learning and career exploration, but we want to make sure that we define what those words and terms mean to us. Because when we look at the definition of what it means to be creative in the 21st century, then that will lead to the question of how we assess that. And then later on, how we structure our curriculum and modify our instruction to have students engaged in that curriculum to come to the outcomes that we desire. And so that's the activity that you will complete today. It's obviously important for us to define what the Department of Education has developed, but it's equally important for us to also look at what we may want to add as characteristics that are of particular value to us. And so we will ask you to think through other items, other characteristics of students that we want to foster. Do we spend, for example, more time on character education to make sure our students are positive and that they have empathy and those kinds of qualities? We also need to look at students who have experienced trauma in their childhood and how it affects them and how we can still help them achieve, even though they don't always function the same way as many of the other kids that we see in our classrooms. I can tell you a personal story about a boy who grew up in somewhat less than ideal circumstances.
There he is on the right with his big brother, and for the first 3 years of his life, he lived in a place that looked just about like this. He grew up in a violent home with a mean drunk as a father who created all kinds of chaos in his life, and as a result, when he went to school, the only way he knew how to solve problems was by using violence as a tool. He would hear some of his teachers and even some of his relatives say things like, "Nothing good will ever come of these kids. They'll never go anywhere." And he would always hear what he couldn't accomplish and what he couldn't do. But it was teachers, in addition to his mother, that also made all the positive difference. This is his 4th grade class, 33 students, and a teacher who never gave up on any of these students. Even though the student was in detention practically every other week, this teacher continued to support the student emotionally and create a learning environment that ultimately worked for the student. As a result, he was the first in his family to even go beyond 8th grade. He graduated from high school, learned a second language, moved to another country, and graduated from college in his second language. He became a teacher and ultimately was allowed to defend his dissertation in the rotunda at the University of Virginia.
And so today, this boy has grown up and now is superintendent in Rockham County Public Schools. So that's part of my story. And so, as you can imagine, it's important to me that we not only see the potential for achievement in children that come from homes that are less than what we consider ideal, that we believe in those students, that we ask, what happened to you, not just why are you acting this way, and also that we see that sometimes students who come from these homes, and all our other students, can do things that we may even have thought weren't possible before. Because in our future, we want to see students do things that we in our current time can't do. We want them to solve the problems that we still consider impossible to solve. And so that's part of what makes me tick. That's what I want to see in our classrooms. Again, you are a critical component of this plan. You are in the classrooms every day with those students. What you believe students can achieve is a huge factor in what they actually achieve. And so again, I ask you to think through these things, spend the time with your colleagues and the administrators this afternoon to talk about them, and I cannot wait to see what ideas you come up with. I promise you they will be prominent in our thinking because, again, you are the closest connection to our students, and we want to know very sincerely, what you think about our school division and the direction which is going. So I hope you enjoy your afternoon and enjoy this activity. Thanks a lot.